Women are going missing in several states. A new case with similar details catches Mulder's eye.
The victims were all in search of love in some way. Who is preying on these women? And Mike, is the internet evil? Question mark?
Question mark?
This is not happening. We found the purse in the front seat of that car over there. According to the license, her name is Lauren McElvey, but we're not sure yet that this is her body.
You're not sure?
We couldn't make a positive ID, considering. Wendy Sparks, she's our bureau liaison. She thought this would be closer to your area of expertise.
Any indication what would have been the cause of death?
We were just lucky to get her into the bag without her body falling apart.
This substance, did you find it anywhere else in the car? On the carpet or the upholstery?
As a matter of fact, no.
So it was only on the victim's body?
That's what it looks like. Why? Do you have an idea what happened here?
No, not yet.
I'll call you when we find anything else concrete. Detective?
Yeah, sure, call me.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Mike, and with me, as always, is Andrew. Andrew, how are you doing this evening?
I'm fine. I'm a little reluctant to talk this evening.
Oh, don't be scared.
I'm just a little shy.
A little uneasy.
One would almost say too shy.
You're too shy.
I'm too shy.
Too shy. Well, let's see if we can bring you out of your shell to talk about this episode that is, it's a public announcement, public service announcement for the X-Files.
Yeah, in case you were in search of love on the internet,
be careful.
Twice.
Be careful.
Yeah. Do you think that somebody had a bad experience? I think old Jeffrey Vlaming, the writer of this one, had a bad experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's too soon to be having those bad experiences. I could be wrong, but man, we're talking 1995.
This is on the cusp, yeah.
Half the world doesn't even know the internet is a thing right now. So,
I mean, they're dating services. The idea of chatting online with somebody, it's very new.
Honestly, I think this episode is leagues ahead of its time. Because just before the Craigslist killer, before any of those horror stories you read about social media and dating, this episode saw it coming. And
very much so, yeah.
Yeah. So kudos to Vlaming for putting his thumb on the pulse there. He
also wrote another episode. He wrote Hell Money, which I would argue is a slightly better episode. But not a bad episode, this one. I mean, it definitely sits in a very precious place with a number of other X-Files episodes. I'm thinking Tombs. I'm thinking the Fluke Man, the host. I'm thinking Donnie Faster Irresistible. Like, that is what we have here. We're looking over the shoulder of the villain, and this time from the get-go.
Yeah.
You know everything you need to know about this guy.
Yeah. He's no good. And if you didn't hate him enough by the end of the opening scene in this episode, just remember, he's the asshole who was mean to Data on Star Trek. So,
oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to hate him. You have to hate him.
He is contractually obligated to play bad guys. Douchebags.
He's a douchebag? Ugh.
Yeah. Well, directed by David Nutter, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a quality
episode, I think. And not to get too far into it, but I have quite the history with this episode.
What?
Well, I mean, I'll get into it at some point, but yeah, this is one of the most vivid memories of the X-Files for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess just down the road from you, right? In Ohio, so.
Yeah, just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, I guess this is all Vancouver still, but, masquerading as Ohio.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you say we get started on this Monster of the Week, Andrew?
Let us spit our pepsin-coated coagulant all over the episode and digest it on the outside so that we can, eat people.
Drink someone with a straw.
That's right. That's what this is. As concepts go, it's definitely out there.
Yeah.
They definitely are reaching a little bit. I mean, I think there's somebody said the words fat-sucking vampire. And they were like, oh, episode.
There you go.
Yeah.
A man and woman are chatting as the camera pans down. It's nighttime on a warehouse pier. They sit face to face in the woman's hatchback car. She's obviously nervous. They're meeting for the first time. Despite his insistence that she's beautiful and he's having a great time, she toys with her 4-leaf clover necklace, clearly anxious, having faced rejection all her life. When she allows herself to enjoy the moment, she accidentally snaps the chain holding her necklace. When he goes to help, we see he has a skin irritation on his neck. As he inspects the necklace, he takes the opportunity to steal a kiss from her. Without warning, he pulls back to reveal her mouth, full and covered in a sticky, gooey film, as she gasps for air. He lunges at her and begins feeding. The next morning, a police officer on patrol drives on by and notices the car. He stops and sees foggy windows. He knocks on the window to wake up the single passenger, but when they don't respond, he inspects closer and finds a dead, decomposing body. The clover necklace covered in a gel-like substance.
Oh, no.
Good Lord, Andrew, what the fuck just happened?
Well, it is a better X-Files open than we have seen in previous ones. Like the occult weirdness happens here. You know, we are not going to get an ominous opening. This is going to hit you double barrel to the face that, you know, weirdness is afoot.
Yeah.
I got two things to say about this open, though.
Yeah.
The first one is they're using the same dockland that they used in Erlenmeyer Flask.
Oh, of course.
I mean, complete with the same, like, the dude runs up the ramp and jumps into the water. It tracks right back that. So I wonder if David Nutter did Erlenmeyer Flask. That would be interesting to know. I
think it was R.W. Goodwin, I think.
It would have been because it was a season closer, yeah. So I wonder if it's a bit of an homage to that.
Could be.
Because it is so obviously there, right? The second thing I got to say is there's a moment where the cop is looking into the car and he does that thing where he sort of squishes with his hand to clear up the window. That wouldn't do a thing on the outside.
On the outside, right?
Because all the condensation's on the inside of the car, but yet it seems to work. And he looks in and is like, oh my God.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But it is a hell of an open. It is classic.
I will tell you, Andrew. And I'll just get into it now because that's...
Get into it.
I watched this as it premiered as a little tyke.
Oh, dear.
Let's see. I had either just turned 10 or I was turning 10. And sweet Jesus, Andrew, I was not prepared for that. Yes. I was alone. I was watching TV upstairs. My brother was downstairs playing games or whatever. Mm-hmm. No one else was in the house, and my stomach just fell, right? I'm like, this is disgusting. I need to leave the room. I went downstairs for a little bit. I'm like, I'm going to watch my brother play video games because that was disgusting.
Did you go back and watch it? Or
I did. I did come back eventually, and the rest of the episode, it was still terrifying as a 10-year-old boy. So
no kidding. Yeah.
This is one of those moments that I remember so well from my childhood. That feeling of like, that's scary and disgusting. All right, I'm going to go I'm going to go clear my mind for a little bit.
Well, God, a little take. I feel a little bad for you, pal.
No, it's a great episode. I come back to it often now.
It's not a skip.
No, not a skip. So we come back on the investigation. The camera walking through the crime scene as agents mill about. It lingers on an older detective, Detective Cross, who greets Mulder and Scully as they arrive. The victim is Lauren McElvey, but they haven't made a positive ID based on the condition of the body. He lifts the cover over her body to reveal a bloody, viscous mess.
Yeah.
Her skeleton is more visible now as the flesh seems to have withered away. Clearly, Andrew, it is unidentifiable. This is why the agents were called. Call Mulder. He's got the little Rolodex.
I think he's going to go on to say his typical thing of, I got 4 other cases.
We've got 4 other cases kind of just like this.
Yeah. So my little radar bleeped on this one, and we were on the first plane to Cleveland.
Yep. Mulder takes a sample of the substance from the body, It was only found on the body, nowhere else in the car. And I gotta say, I'm not sure how they can make that claim because that would be all over the place.
It should be through the seat mats.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I think the implication was the stuff sprayed on her and it got everywhere, or is it emanating from her?
I know. I'm just poking fun.
Poking holes.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you do look in the car as the camera's going by, the seats are clean. Everything's fine. It's like
they only rented that car. It's going back to the shop. And what a gross looking car. First of all, is that like a Gremlin or something?
Yeah. Fucking, there's no uglier car than any hatchback. I used to have one.
Yeah.
They're just not appealing cars. So.
Well, I mean, to some extent, as a hatchback owner.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Step in it, Mike. Step in it.
Step right in it.
Okay.
No, but this particular one is gross, and it just happens to be a hatchback. Is where I will land.
All right. I'm sorry. Andrew's going to give me a tongue lashing later.
Well, you're probably driving a pickup out there in Wisconsin.
No.
That's all you Americans
SUV.
drive, right? It's either pickups or SUVs.
Good old Nissan Rogue. That's my car.
There you go. Kind of an SUV.
That's an
kind
SUV, yeah. All right. So Mulder takes that sample from the body. He tells Scully 4 women disappeared from Aberdeen, Mississippi in a month. Only one body was found, but they couldn't do an autopsy due to the decomposition. He wants her to figure out what the substance is, and he's going to find out if McElvey is a lonely heart, because the Aberdeen victims were. Ooh, boy.
Typical bedside manner for Mulder, eh? To like ignore every other law enforcement personnel.
Yeah. Just kind of walk away from the detective who called you in on the case.
Yeah. But Scully's going to pick up all the pieces and be like, we'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll get back to you. Mulder, he can't be bothered to say anything.
Don't worry about him. He's his own special kind of guy.
And the camera lingers on Cross after he walks away, like he just doesn't know what to think or say when Scully's addressing him. I don't talk to women. No.
Yeah. Yeah, he sets up his chauvinism pretty early.
Yeah. So we cut to a computer. 2 people are chatting online. It is the killer from the opening scene and a woman, a new woman. She's afraid of rejection and is second-guessing their plan to meet up. He is doing his best, though, Andrew, to coax her into meeting with him with a grin on his face. There's a knock at the door. It's clueless landlord, Andrew. She's bringing...
We've seen this character before.
Yes, she's the clueless housewife from Irresistible.
What, the same actor?
Same actress.
Oh,
Same actress, different characters. But the same character in many ways.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit typecast.
It's clueless landlord. Yep, she's bringing his new key over for the storage unit. And as he closes his door, she accosts him with small talk. He clearly is not interested in her or what she has to say, but she really doesn't take the hint and asks if he'll read some of her poems.
He should have said, listen, come back after you've packed on 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Then we can talk.
Tell me about it. He could not be less interested in this one.
Yeah.
And by the end of the episode, we know why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We go now to the autopsy. Scully arrives and Cross is a little bit put off that she's performing it. The 2 get into a little bit of a conversation on sexism, and Cross really just kind of lays it out there. He doesn't think women should be participating in certain kinds of cases because since this one's directed towards women, she must be being affected.
That's right. Well, clearly, though, isn't she?
Women just cannot set aside their emotions, their personal feelings. Isn't that right? I think that's scientific fact, Andrew.
I'm not going to say anything because I know the answer to this question is not what you think it is.
No, but that is the
the upshot of what he's saying. Absolutely.
That is what he's saying. Yes.
It is kind of refreshing to see this directly handled.
Yeah.
Like I think that a more modern script would dance around it a bit more in a bit more of a nuanced way. But Cross is literally just wearing it like a badge. He literally says, I'm not being sexist. I'm just being honest.
I'm not being sexist. I'm just being sexist.
Listen, I'm honest and sexist. What can I tell you? And I think we have a moment later where there is the grudging respect that
very
Scully has somehow
begrudging.
earned.
Very begrudging. I don't think she fully earns it. I know what scene you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I think he's like, fine.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
I'll give you a chance, woman.
The actor is certainly being played as, I was a child of the 50s when men were men and women were women.
Yeah.
And I can't get my hand around this newfangled world where women can be doctors and running, autopsies and stuff. So from that case, it's a great scene for that character to play. It is very straightforward and it's a little awkward, which is fun. It gives Scully something to play against.
I half expect him to be wearing like a hat and have a cigar hanging out of his mouth. What are you doing
smoking
here?
In this room?
Yeah. Go fetch me a cup of coffee, you broad.
Honey, fetch me a cup of coffee until the coroner gets here.
Until the coroner gets here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew, this scene.
Oh, love it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
She shuts him down and asks where he'd like the report sent. Great capper to their conversation, I'll say.
Yeah.
She begins the autopsy by taking notes with her little voice recorder.
Taking her little notes.
She notices a blood-like substance dripping from the bottom seal of the freezer. She opens it slowly and pulls out the tray to one of the most disgusting scenes in the show, I have to say. As the tray stops, a rust-colored gel pours onto the ground. It's revealed that there is not much left of McElvee's body. Even her skeleton, Andrew, is dissolving. I'm going to go out and just say this is probably one of the best and most disgusting practical effects of the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is disgusting.
Probably very simple to do. It's just the sort of connotation here of what we are seeing is very upsetting. Because it means that there is some kind of agent which can reduce somebody's body to this state. It is so dehumanizing, which I guess is the through line for the whole episode, really. People are just meat to this guy. But wow, it's gross. Yeah.
Yeah. We go now to Mulder in an apartment with a woman describing Lauren. It's her roommate. The man online seems so nice. They met in a chat room. Big and beautiful. But Too Shy didn't seem to care about her weight issue. It wasn't about sex with him. And Lauren used to read his love letters to her. This woman probably uses those letters every night, the way she talks about them.
Whoa.
She saved them herself.
Yeah.
She's not subtle on how these letters have affected her. But that's great.
Can I just say, I mean, looking at Lauren McElvee, I know what the episode is trying to do. I know the point it's trying to make about, self-image and body image and such. But maybe I'm just looking through a modern lens. These are not obese women.
No, they're certainly not.
Even, the victims that we'll be seeing going on here, like conventionally, I suppose you could say overweight, but not like to the point of, she was so concerned
snack
about her
food
appearance.
for a fat sucking monster.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could seriously.
There are other people he could target. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this is the 90s and like you just can't put certain people on TV. Maybe it's a little bit of that. And they found sort of television acceptable fat.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, for the time, I would say that's what's going on.
I think that's probably what it is. But it's a shame, really, that the implication is that this is what qualifies as dangerously overweight or something.
Right. It's like a little bit of body fat, nothing crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not supermodel thin, so Jesus Christ, get on a treadmill.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Mulder calls Scully, who is staring at the body that she just pulled out of the freezer, or what's left of it. He called the online service that Lauren was using and found out that Too Shy opened the account with an Aberdeen victim's credit card. Scully asks him to come to the coroner's office.
Sorry, I gotta pick up on something here. Do you know Mulder using this woman's home phone to make the phone call?
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't think I paid attention to that.
He literally just walks over to the workstation and picks up her little white phone.
I'm just going to make a collect call. Do you mind?
Yeah. My phone's out of minutes. Do you mind if I just, doesn't even ask.
Women are just getting trampled in this episode.
My other favorite part of that that moment is the completely obvious Cleveland Indians pendant that's hanging up by the computer. It's like, by the way, people, we're in Cleveland.
We're in Cleveland. That's awesome.
It's a metacarpal from Lauren McElvey's hand. In life, bones have the tensile strength of forged iron. Even in death, they remain strong. But look at this.
What did this turn out to be?
It's organic, mostly hydrochloric acid, similar to what is secreted by the gastric mucosa.
It's similar to stomach acid?
Almost identical, only twice as acidic. I also found trace amounts of pepsin, which is a digestive enzyme.
So you're saying that this did that?
I don't know how else to explain such accelerated autolysis.
Okay, what's in here, Scully, theoretically should contain the same cellular components as our various tissues, right? Skin, muscle, blood.
In some broken down form, yes.
In the results of your chemical analysis, did you find anything missing?
Missing?
Yeah.
I don't think so. All of the body tissues were accounted for. Well, except there were extremely low, almost trace amounts of adipose.
Fatty tissue. That could explain the weight discrepancy.
What weight discrepancy?
Well, the ME recorded Lauren's weight at 122, but her driver's license had her at 165.
Well, she probably lost weight since the license was issued.
Well, no, actually, Lauren's roommate said she was quite nervous about meeting this guy because she put on some weight recently.
What possible motivation could the killer have for removing his victim's fatty tissue? I mean, who do you think we're dealing with here?
I don't know.
We go now to Chat Room Ellen. She steps in front of a mirror and makes fun of herself. Her friend is begging her not to go on this date. She saw a notice from the FBI in Cleveland about online dating and to be extra vigilant. She just wants her friend to be careful. But he's not a stranger, Andrew. She's been chatting with him every day for over a month.
Oh, yeah. You know, much better person after that.
That's the excuse we've all used at some point, right? I know this person. He's not a serial killer, Andrew. He can't possibly be. He sent me a picture.
Yeah, he told me his first name.
And this is before video chat.
Yeah.
Or right on the cusp.
Letters.
So,
yeah.
But what if he isn't great, says the roommate. So now Ellen has to think. Outside the restaurant, the killer is holding a bouquet of flowers. It's getting late. He checks his watch, and in a huff, he dumps the flowers on the curb.
Do we feel a little ping of sympathy for Virgil Incanto at this point?
No, because we know he's the bad guy. But we got to be like, okay, what's he going to do now? Andrew, I want to ask you, though, what is the name of that restaurant?
Les Trois Étoiles.
I knew
Les Trois Étoiles. Les Trois Étoiles. Oh, my God. This is hard even for, someone who knows what that is. The 3 stars is how that translates.
3 stars.
Yes.
Well, that makes that awning make a lot more sense to me now as an American who doesn't speak French.
And in a 5-star restaurant, it's only ranking 3 stars.
It's only ranking 3 stars.
So he took her to a mediocre restaurant, or he was going to take her to a mediocre restaurant.
He wasn't going to waste good money on this broad that he's going to kill.
Yeah. Listen, do you want to just have some coffee and go back to
Look, she's slightly overweight. This is the best food she's had all year.
Oh. Ouch.
Oh, my God.
Well, he's been stood up. So sad for Too Shy.
Yep. He takes a stroll down the street and comes across the red light district. Prostitutes galore.
Prostitution.
He gets stopped by 3 women, and he chooses the, shall we say, bulkier of the 3.
Again, I look at this like...
She's not unattractive at all.
No, and maybe backing a few on, but not... Like, you look at the rest of them there, and they are supermodel waifs.
Right, yeah.
Which is the other delightful trope I love about the 90s when they deal with prostitution, is that prostitution is fun, glamorous, and good looking. Everybody's having a great time.
Everyone's having a great time. Not a cop to be seen. No drugs.
That's right.
No needles, as far as
everybody wants to be there. No coercion.
Everyone's very happy.
That's right.
One of them's just coming back from a vacation.
Transactions are above board and honest. Yeah. Listen, Cleveland is known for its clean prostitution. It's just a good old time.
Yeah. this is one of those scenes, man, where they kind of lay it on thick. They beat us over the head with the Hollywood version of prostitution, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
He picks Holly. She's in the green dress. The two adjourn to a secluded place under the overpass or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. She stops him from kissing her because, well, you just don't kiss prostitutes, Andrew. Frustrated, he then begins choking her, and she claws at him, pulling away flesh underneath her nails. Surprised by how easily it came off, she stares at her nails just long enough for him to compose himself and attack her again. Mm-mm. Another hooker has a date, and they approach nearby. They see the man crouching down, and he gets scared off by their presence. The woman goes to check on her friend, and to her disgust, she's on the ground, on her back, and the substance is all over her face. Now, Andrew, I put it to you that this is a normal thing for them. That stuff all over her face. I could be wrong.
No, I know what you're saying. But I know what you're implying. But we know better.
We know better.
Having watched the episode, what this is. And really the fact she's not moving is the cause for concern.
Yes,
not
absolutely.
What's on her. Yeah.
Holly, what's wrong? This happens all the time.
Did he pay you extra? I mean,
the next morning, the agents arrive with Cross to examine the woman's body. Everything's the same.
It's not the same.
It's
I'm
not
freeze framed on poor Holly,
I know.
And
she's flipped
not
over,
broken down,
and she's not broken down. Yeah,
she's not broken down. So clearly, dude hadn't had enough time to do serious goo action.
Yeah, which is strange because by the time he would have had to pick her up really late for that not to have affected Holly. Because if you think about the night before, right? Two adults having a conversation, probably maybe midnight. Let's say midnight. They're sitting in the car. By that morning, she's a husk of. Yeah. But nothing's happened to Holly yet, so they couldn't afford the makeup for this scene.
I think you're right. I think that is probably what it is. They just sort of ran out of budget to make the same effect or something. They could have not shot it. They could have just, had reaction shots of, oh my God, I can't believe that's happened. But I think there's a little bit of changing the rules of the game in terms of how the power works here. Like, okay. The implication to me is that Encanto did not have enough time to really exude enough goo that would produce the same effect as happened to Lauren McElvey.
And that's the only conclusion you can draw is that he didn't get to really spray his goo. I'm sorry.
There's going to be more of this.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. So the agents arrive with Cross to examine the woman's body. Mulder informs him that the killer is working an online dating service for women looking for Mr. Right. Something must have gone wrong, though, because that doesn't jive with a hooker. Mulder hands Cross some quotations used by the killer. They're Italian poetry, Andrew. The quotes come from books that only academic affiliates would have access to, and the killer could be a professor or a graduate student. Scully then finds the flesh from the hooker's nails.
Can I just say, Encanto is a dummy.
A little bit.
Because why on earth would you choose easily the most... I mean, using these quotes from Renaissance Italian poetry or whatever. You don't need to do that. You don't need to show off to these people. But... he's choosing to do that, and it's going to be the one thing which identifies him. Like, he
doesn't need to do it. Why, Andrew? Because they're fat. They don't deserve wooing.
No, because they're online, and people on the internet are stupid. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, he is getting very obscure with his. Well, I don't know, man.
Further, this is the first time we're 18 minutes in. It's the first indication that Virgil Encanto, Too Shy, is a smarty pants Italian academic. Mm-hmm. Up till now, we have seen him chat. We have seen him type away. And there is not a trace of Italian poetry in any of that.
That's true.
And I don't think that is going to work on most people, especially people that live in Cleveland. I'm just,
What are you speaking? What are you typing? I can't read this gibberish.
What do you think? I'm Italian?
They only know words like spaghetti and masticholi.
It's a huge reach for the episode, and obviously the way that we are going to... Like, I know what they needed to do here. They needed a way to show Mulder as being smart, and also to find a way for our heroes to track down our villain, and that is our way in. I think they could have chosen something else.
They could have picked something else. I think it's also... It rides that line of Hollywood, this is what romance is, and you need to woo a woman with a foreign language and love letters and poems. I think they kind of hit that nail a little too.
Yeah.
Unnecessary, but
he could have just been a good writer. He could have had a unique writing style.
He could have been. Yeah, very much.
I don't know. It's a weird choice.
Back in Encanto's apartment, he's tending to his wounds when he gets a buzz at the door. A package has arrived that needs a signature. He descends the stairs to find a young girl milling about. She's blind. Trying to avoid talking to her, he tries to slip past, but she says hi to him anyway, stopping him. The mom, the landlord, has been painting. She's eager to get him her poems and offers to take him to dinner after he's read them. The daughter, Jessie, is disgusted with her mom's hormones. Jessie says he's...
Gross, Mom.
Gross hormones, Mom. She says he smells gross, like he uses dish soap for aftershave, which, okay.
Probably does.
He probably does.
Yeah. Okay, so here's where we could theorize on how Virgil Encanto the monster could have survived in this world without being a fat-sucking vampire. Could he dine on a non-human game? Could he just get a block of rendered fat? Lard? Could he chow down on lard?
Oh, yeah, he's got tubs of Crisco.
Yeah. My primary issue with this is why
people?
Why people and why now? Because the implication with Mulder from the previous crimes in Mississippi is that he is smart, he is sophisticated, he is a survivor, he's moved on from there, he's come here, and now we see him getting stupid. Like he's risky, he's going off of his usual MO, he's getting wounded. A lot of things are breaking down for him, and I would like to have seen something that showed us that something in him is accelerating, that he needs to feed more often or something, or that he's driven by something, but we never get that. We just get this is what it is.
I have the suspicion that what they were trying to do was give him that insatiable hunger, but also imply that there's something sexual with this that's driving him. I don't know that really comes across, but that is the only real thing that I could think that answers your question. Like, he's got more motivation than just food, which is why he sticks to humans. And then, he gets sloppy because he's fucking horny. I don't know. I'm not defending it, but I do think that there needs to be some more explanation as to why he's fucking up. He has to have someone this good, you would think, would have backup plans at all times.
Well, I will get to it later. I think ultimately that on that note, we don't have to dwell on it now, but ultimately he chooses to go after Ellen when he could have chosen to flee. And I don't understand that, given the character that is being painted of this guy. But anyway, we can get to that later.
Okay, so at the Cleveland Police Department, they're compiling a list of everyone who has the credentials to be this killer. Mulder comes in with a file. They couldn't find anyone in the database from the skin samples they acquired, but what they did find is it has no oils or essential fatty acids. It's here, Andrew, that he lays his theory out.
The skin sample contains no oils or essential fatty acid. Mulder, there are any number of factors which could have caused that result. Where are you going with this?
Okay, it's not yet the finely detailed insanity that you've come to expect from me. It's just a theory. But what if he's not doing this out of a psychotic impulse, but rather out of some physical hunger? Maybe he needs to replenish this chemical deficiency in order to survive.
From a dry skin sample, you're concluding what? That he's some kind of a fat-sucking vampire?
I don't know how else to explain Lauren McElvee's missing adipose, and I bet if you checked the Aberdeen victims, you'd find exactly the same thing. This killer secretes a digestive substance which renders the victims fat.
Which he ingests before the rest of the body dissolves entirely.
There are examples of this in nature, aren't there?
Yeah, scorpions predigest their food outside of their body by regurgitating onto their prey, but I don't know too many scorpions who surf the internet.
Okay, but if I am right, then we're not just looking for a serial murderer. We're looking for some kind of genetically different human being, a creature who may be responsible for who knows how many missing persons cases throughout the United States.
That is a leap. There's no other explanation that they could come up with.
But of course, Mike, it is 100% accurate.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That is ironclad.
Can you really imagine the DNA lab being like, you know what? I just feel like I'm going to do this other test to see if there's any essential fatty acids. There's something
just
weird
for
about
shits and giggles, I'm going to test for this.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mulder prodded them to do that.
Danny, while you're running the DNA test, can you just do me a solid and check her for essential fatty acids? I got a hunch.
I just got this hunch. There's nothing going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Encanto secretes a substance which dissolves the fatty tissue. Cross shows up with a list with 38 names. Scully uses this opportunity to request that she brief the team, which Cross reluctantly agrees to.
I see that as Cross grudgingly accepting her competence. I think that is the bridge that, because his facial expression is one of, yeah, kid, you earned it. That's what I see in that moment.
That's fair. That's fair. I can see it. I'm watching it now. I can see it. I think I just want to hate this guy because he's a dick.
Oh, he's painted that way, but we need him to come back on side so that when he buys it later, we feel, some justified rage.
That's fair. That's fair. I do feel a little bit bad for him. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's okay. So back in Encanto's apartment, he sits down with the package, a paperback book, Poeti Italiani del Novecento. Andrew, he gets an email.
I want him to sniff that book and just vibrate with love for it.
Oh, I'm gonna bag so many women with this.
But it's just like, hey, look, I got a nice book. That's cool. Yeah. Oh, email?
Yeah, he's more interested in the email. It's from the woman he was supposed to meet the previous night, Ellen. She apologizes for bailing on him and asks him to meet once more. A knock at the door. The camera cuts to Scully's face through the door chain. She introduces herself, and we find out, everyone breathe, it's not her at the killer's apartment. It was a cute cut. Meanwhile, Cross is at another apartment introducing himself. And it's Encanto's apartment.
Oh my God. It's actually Encanto with Cross?
Yep.
Wow.
As he begins, he notices the medical wrap around Encanto's hand and wrist. The two exchange a glance of recognition. Uh-oh.
Oh, it's all over for Cross.
It's all over for Cross. Back at the police department, the agents are done with their lists, but Cross has not checked in yet.
The scene we didn't get to see here is Encanto wooing Cross.
Yeah, for the next 2 hours, he doesn't kill him. He just starts.
That's right.
He sits him down and reads passages from that book.
Yeah, I just got this book in. Do you want to hear a little bit of it?
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, I take a load off.
I got time. I just got this list. I'm checking names off.
God, that poetry is making me horny.
You know what a better scene of recognition would be is he sees the book. It must be you.
That's why he's there.
I know. It would be so ridiculous, though.
It would be pretty damn ridiculous. I think a better scene would be like drool coming out of Encanto's mouth with like goo, and he'd be like, oh,
I've seen that goo.
I know what that goo is.
Okay, so out at dinner, Mr. Encanto and Ellen are having dinner, and she moves to pay as an apology for the other night. He insists she not worry about it. Unfortunately, though, he has to go because his bus is going to leave without him.
Oh, he's so smooth.
Yeah. She demands he let her drive him home. He smiles. She's fallen into his trap.
Well, I'd like again so this is the second cutaway shot of the eczema as he explains it.
Yeah. Eczema.
And I mean, clearly he is, he's breaking down. He needs another fix, but damn, there's going to be a lot of bodies piling up if this guy needs to eat every day. this
Yeah.
way. Like, how could he survive if he needs to take a human victim every day just to, just to stay slightly close to normal?
Yeah, that is an excellent point. He's going to be racking up quite a few bodies.
Yeah, he's got to find another way.
I mean, he's closing in on 50 by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Which
So
brings in another question.
Well, this guy how old is this guy?
Yeah.
He's looking like he's
like
late
35,
30s, early 40s. Yeah. So it's like, what's he been
doing
for the last 30 years?
Or he's just that good. They haven't noticed the other 2,000 that he's killed throughout his life.
You have one a day. Mm.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Bit of a misstep here, I think. And they needed to show that he's accelerating for a reason.
Yeah.
That would have made it make sense to me.
Well, he's hitting puberty. So his,
yes.
Oh man.
It hits you late when you're his alien form.
I'm going to comment on this lady's hair.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I don't know what they were thinking with that. I'm sorry.
It's a 90s hairstyle.
Jesus
it's
Christ.
Late 80s. All she needs is some shoulder pads and it would fit right in. Yeah.
So back at his apartment, the landlord is trying to deliver her poems to Mr. Encanto. She tries to slip the package under his door, but it won't fit. So she pulls out her keys, Andrew. She can't just let it go.
She's driven. She's a passionate author.
She's certainly something.
And I do like moments like this where it makes sense why she's doing this. Like, everything you need to know about this character and that she is passionate about her writing. She wants very much to make a connection with this guy. It won't fit under the door. And it's a show don't tell moment, which is really nice as opposed to like finding another lame way that she has to go in there. And just the fact that it won't fit under the door is a nice reveal. I like it a lot.
Right. Encanto and Ellen are pulling up to his apartment. She's clearly nervous, making small talk. He tells her it's okay. The landlord then walks into his apartment and picks a very obscure spot to lay her envelope. 2 flies land on it as she puts it down, catching her attention. Encanto is trying to get Ellen upstairs so he can read her a poem.
That's what he wants to do.
Right, yeah. That's all he wants to do. Please let me read you this poem.
I really want to, make you fall in love with Italian 16th century poetry.
Public service announcement to our listeners, our lady listeners, that's never the goal.
Yeah.
If a man tries to get you to his place to read poems, no.
No, he really wants to steal your credit rating.
So he catches a glimpse of his window and something moving inside his apartment. His tune immediately changes. I have a lot of work. I have to go. And he leaves. The landlord is poking around his apartment.
I think you have completely skipped Ellen's destruction at that moment.
Oh, yeah. Well,
the look on her face is like, oh no.
I blew it.
It is a bit heartrending when it's just like, but I could have,
wait, I'll do anything you want.
It would have been kind of fun if she knocked on the door, like came up to his apartment. It's like, I've changed my mind about the Italian poetry.
I would really like to hear what you have to say. So the landlord, she is milling around his apartment and she heads to the bathroom, Andrew. She pulls back the curtain of the shower to reveal Cross in the tub with the white viscous substance all over his body. Dead.
It was a hell of a night.
It was one hell of a poem that he read.
And I'll tell you what, I don't think Encanto's getting a security deposit back.
No.
That tub. Although probably you just pull the plug on that drain after a few hours and Cross will go right down the tub. Just bloop, bloop, bloop.
Yuck. As she covers her mouth in horror, Encanto reveals himself at the door behind her. Commercial.
Yeah. For Liquid Plumber.
Yep. Giddy up 409.
Yeah.
Jessie knocks on Encanto's door as she looks for her mother. She walks in and he tells her he doesn't know where she is. Behind Encanto, we see her on the floor, face down. As Jessie backs out of the apartment door, she knocks into his luggage. He grabs her arm roughly and says he's going out of town for business and not to worry about her mother. At the police department, Mulder's checking on Cross's list. No one has seen him. Mulder then gets a call, a 911 on Cross's list for a possible homicide. Officers break into Encanto's apartment. They search and find the landlady's body along with Cross. As Scully takes a moment to talk to Jesse, who dialed 911, she could smell her mother's perfume in the apartment, so she knew Encanto was lying. She relays that he told her he was going to New York, and as Scully leaves her, she asks, why would someone do this?
Because they're written that way.
They're written that way.
Okay, look, I like the use of Jesse in this moment. I think it's a pretty good twist. Not completely original. You know, the idea of
Heightened
somebody who's
senses.
blind, having a heightened senses in other areas, and that's, you know, the unorthodox way of solving the puzzle. It's, you know, it's retrodden ground, but it's good in this case. What I think fails in this scene is the police procedure of breaking into the apartment.
Well, that's just common, you know.
Listen, there have been enough good movies that have come out that can instruct the rest of Hollywood how you do a home invasion police style.
No. You go in full SWAT at all times.
You do. They go in first and clear the whole place, and then they let the detectives in. They don't stand at the door with a shotgun leveled and then let the detectives go in first.
You guys head in. We open the door for you.
We got this doorway covered. You guys go in next.
No one is coming in behind you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Cleveland. It's a big city. They're going to have a SWAT department in 1995. So this, to me, like when they know that this is a serial killer, I feel like they could have done this police breach and clear a little bit better. Like, where are the flashbangs? That's all I got to say.
Yeah. So Mulder's come up with a name, Andrew. Virgil Encanto. He's a translator of Italian literature.
Well, of course he is, isn't he?
Yep. One of the detectives goes to issue an APB for the airports, but Mulder is convinced he won't be flying anywhere. He's a survivor. He knows how to get around, and he's not just going to give up his destination to some kid. Well, that's your answer. That's your answer, Andrew.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of that, except he's a dumbass is what it is, because okay. Yeah, sorry. It'll come out. Let's just keep on going.
All of his victims have been contacted by him, so they're in his computer somewhere, Mulder surmises. They get one of the detectives to investigate, but all the files are pass encrypted, and it's going to take a long time. So
I don't like this particular avenue for solving the case, because if he is a smart survivor, he's leaving town. He's not going to New York. He's clearly misdirecting by telling Jesse that he's going to New York, but he's actually going to go somewhere else. But the plot decides that no, he's going to go and have a snack before he leaves town. He's going to go and finish off Ellen.
Well, Andrew, I sense where this is going, and I put it to you, sir, that whenever you go on a road trip, do you not stop at the gas station for a snack?
That's true.
This is 100% believable. 100% believable.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, all right. And plus, Ellen probably has a car, so maybe he's going to go see her car.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, now it's making more sense.
Yeah.
But the plot is artificially corralling us into a place where we're going to get some resolution here.
Yes.
Now, the guy who's running the computer, we've seen him before, hey?
Yes, that's Buddy from Chinga.
Yeah. Good old Buddy.
And
Buddy. God bless computer shots in the 90s where there is a loving attention to detail, you know, close-ups on the mouse moving, close-ups on text on the screen. Like, it's very much like, oh, computers, they're so avant-garde.
Computers are neat.
They're so cool, high-tech.
Look at all you can do.
Look at all those digits and numbers and matrix stuff on the screen. Whoa, man.
Super cool.
Yeah.
A doorbell, Andrew. Ellen turns on the light in her apartment to find that it's Encanto at her door. He begs her to give him a second chance. All he wants is to explain what happened. She finally relents and lets him in. She locks the door behind him as he enters. At the police.
That's a creepy ass moment too.
It is.
I gotta say, like, You know, he is so good at getting in under the defenses that she's willing to lock herself in with this guy. Mm-hmm. It's a good touch.
Yeah. At the police department, Mulder and the detective investigating the computer have found a list of names. A regular grocery list. Scully hands the detective a sketch of the suspect to have it faxed to everyone on this list. The tension, Andrew, is rising.
It is.
Ellen is serving Encanto coffee and leaves the room to go change into something more appropriate. She then sits at her desk for a moment to message her friend that he's in her apartment, super excited. She didn't blow it. She's going to get laid. The agents have contacted everyone on the list, save for 2 women, and Ellen is one of them. Ellen suddenly gets an alert on her email to watch out for a dangerous man, and the sketch slowly generates next to the email, and she's taken by surprise.
She must have a high-speed connection for that.
It materialized so fast, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't sludge for internet in 1995. She's paying for 1440, maybe 5280.
She's closing in. I could not get that to work that fast in 1998, which is 3 years from now. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
But maybe she works in IT. You know,
she could.
She's an early adopter of chat rooms and stuff.
Yeah, maybe she works for the cable company.
Yeah, maybe she does. I do like how she turns her computer on and off with the monitor, though.
Yes,
doesn't turn off the hard drive. She just
turns off the monitor, makes it all go away.
You don't want to burn in the onto the CRT,
and you don't want that.
Make sure
you don't want that face burning in, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's a gross looking sketch, but very accurate.
Very accurate.
Especially if she walks in and it's like she looks right.
Yeah,
the exact same. His eyes are bug open.
Encanto is entering the room trying to find her. She starts bullshitting him as best she can, the poor woman. She was just emailing her friend that he hadn't rejected her like she thought. He catches a glimpse of the computer screen through a mirror and notes the sketch of his face and the FBI warning. He remains calm, though, and slowly presses closer to her. She tries to escape under the guise of still needing to change, but he tells her she's beautiful the way she is. She gives up the act and tells him to stay away from her. He lunges at her and she screams. Mulder and Scully arrive outside the apartment complex. They bang on Ellen's door. No answer, but her friend down the hall greets the agents. They tell her to go back in.
Well, more importantly, she says that Ellen just emailed me. So now they got probable cause because she's in there and she's
in there. She's not answering. Mulder breaks in Ellen's door to a dark apartment. Her computer's toppled over. No one appears to be there. Mulder peers out a back window to a man running down the street. Scully finds Ellen covered in a blanket, gasping for air. Mulder jumps out the window and pursues the man in the street. She calls for an ambulance. As Mulder pursues the man, he draws his weapon. He gets the drop on a kid who's spraying graffiti, though.
Oh, it's a red herring.
Red herring. Scully, meanwhile, is looking through Ellen's medicine cabinet for aid and is then surprised by Encanto from the shower. He attacks her and knocks her to the ground, trying to lock his lips with hers and begin feeding. But she stabs him with medical scissors. As he gets up again, a gunshot sounds out and a bullet strikes him in the breast. He falls forward onto Scully, who is shocked to find Ellen, face burned from the substance, holding her gun. Oh boy. Ellen has found the strength from within to get revenge. And Ellen she's never going to date anyone ever again.
Yeah. Well, no, she's going to date ladies is what she's going to do. Because they're the only reliable ones in the world.
Yep. You know what? Screw it. We cut now to an interrogation. The agents are with Encanto and they hand him a list of people. All missing, all dead. 47 women in 5 states. How many are his, Andrew? All of them. Scully just stares at him in disgust. Mulder leaves, and Encanto, whose skin condition has gotten much worse since his incarceration, it's now covering his whole body. He tells Scully he's not a monster. He was just feeding a hunger. He gave them what they wanted, and they gave him what he needed. Scully goes to leave, and Encanto starts reciting a line from one of his Italian poems, "The dead are no longer lonely." As she leaves, the camera whips back around to a close-up of his face. credits.
So that's the one time we hear him actually employ his Italian academics.
Oh, he tried to woo Ellen with it. Very, very, very small in the car.
Yeah, he's like, I got some.
Icasone.
I mean, I'm a real smart, brainy guy who speaks Italian. Come back and listen to my poetry.
Yes, that is exactly how it went.
So, 47? Was it the kill count was 47 by the end?
47 women in 5 states. Yep.
Yeah. So, ironically enough, I don't know whether they're on a capital punishment bender for these 2 episodes because we have just previously reviewed the list. Ohio has capital punishment in 1995, also by electrocution. So, do you think that's where Virgil Incanto ends up after this episode?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
He's gonna
or you
fry.
think the government swoops in to get a sense of why his goo is so cool?
Well, they're going to study him like they do Chester Banton in Soft Light.
Yes.
They're going to steal him and figure out his superpower and how it can help them forge a super weapon.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Fat-sucking vampire army.
Well, it'll come back, right? In season 9?
Yep.
Probably.
Absolutely.
Something like that. Yeah.
Virgil Incanto makes a return appearance.
Okay, what does that episode look like?
Oh, boy.
He escapes during a prison transfer?
Well, we find out that he has a twin brother.
Oh, that's clearly
and
it.
He's going to be breaking Virgil out of prison. And they were once joined in their mother's body, and they became separate beings. But there are now 2 fat-sucking vampires.
Well,
but one
it makes it a better sequel. Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Well, there's 2, and his brother, he had chosen a life of solitude and trying to fit in.
He's a monastery priest guy. Yeah,
he refuses to give in to his carnal needs.
Yeah.
And he shuns his brother for doing what he's doing. But God damn it, he's family, so I got to save him.
That's right.
And they both get into hijinks.
They're going to go back to their spaceship. They're going to go back to their planet they came from.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how that episode ends, with a cool reveal of a crop circle in a hayfield.
No earthly means.
That's right. That's clearly how it's going to end. Yeah.
So,
okay, I'd watch that.
What about your final thoughts on this one?
Yes. Well, in the spirit of villains that we love to hate, Toombs, the Fluke Man, Pusher, Donnie Faster, Virgil Incanto of Too Shy ranks pretty heavy. Mostly because this episode follows pretty much the same formula as those other ones. We have a bird's eye view of the evil that he does. We are introduced to it, and it's explained why he does the evil that he does. Although, in this case, I think it's not as strong an episode because it's not very nuanced. Dude is hungry. He's got a certain taste, so he does what he does because that's how he gets his fix. Mm-hmm. And from there, it's just a matter of how the agents will catch him. There is no big reversal. There's no huge twist. He's not particularly smart, and the cat and mouse game between the agents and the villain is not there so much. It's just a matter of when will the dragnet descend and catch him. If there is a twist to the formula, it's that Scully is going to have the showdown rather than Mulder. And if there's a twist to the twist, it's that Ellen's going to save the day with the Deus Ex Machina rather than Mulder arriving at the nick of time, because they have done that at least 3 or 4 times already.
Right.
So there's a lot to like, but other episodes have probably done it creepier and more nuanced. Thus, Too Shy is good, but really you're going to get a better villain fix from other better episodes. So that's my final take on this one.
And that's fair. I think it is kind of a rehash of Tombs. I should say Squeeze. And that's okay. You're not going to have something original every time or a completely original idea every time.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I still think this episode is delightfully disgusting.
Well, it made a huge impression on you. So clearly you're kidding that. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No. And I think there's a lot to like here. I like Virgil Incanto as a bad guy. Is he a little clumsy? Yeah. Absolutely. I think they could have probably fleshed him out in a better way. And like you said, I think we needed a better reason as to why he's making some mistakes or why he is feeding every day.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a living creature, you need food every day. But to take a human life every day. This guy's got to be racking up many, many people. So,
yeah, well, exactly.
in Tombs, they explained it away. He only needs 5 for a cycle or whatever, a sleep cycle.
And now you got a deadline, right?
Yeah.
So after his 5th, he's going to go away.
Yeah.
I think the two, again, when an episode does this, they have a lot of different things they're packing in, and sometimes something gets lost. And they've added 2 of them in this one. The sexism angle between Scully and Inspector Cross, and then the general, body image issue, people being overweight in the 90s. And I think they could have done a bit more of a service to the episode by focusing on one of those.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you could have dropped the sexism angle because it's kind of tacked on.
Yeah. It's out of left field. It doesn't really get addressed. It's just, it gets addressed. Scully shuts it down. And
she wins.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Cross dies. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. The sexist dies. Therefore, he is wrong. But I think they could have made a bit more of a statement about, the reason that service exists, and that it's funny that the villain is the one saying that you don't have to worry about your appearance. It's so in a way, because it's coming from a negative place, I suppose that makes it a negative influence, right? Like if somebody who's our protagonist says, "Oh, they got a real weight issue," and do something about that. Well, then it's negative. I don't know how to explain it. It's a weird take to have on it. It could have made it better.
I get you.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
It's a fun episode. It's quirky. It's weird. It's disgusting. And I think what I like about it is that it was ahead of its time, and that it was creepy enough to well, it freaked me out as a kid, but that doesn't really matter. I think.
Do you think it would freak out other 10-year-olds?
I'm sure, but
you might.
I think it was a really good episode that needed to kind of bring the gross factor back to the X-Files. We get 1 or 2 every season. Haven't had one in several episodes, and the last one I could think of right now off the top of my head is The Host, which is the beginning of season 2. So we're right on time for that. Yeah, I think it's a weaker episode pound for pound than Squeeze, but I still enjoy it, and I think Encanto combine all of it with Mark Snow's score. It's weird. It's oddly unsettling, but not dark. I don't really know how to describe his score for this episode.
The score in this one? Yeah, there's a weird moment. I have a note to ask you. There's the only word I can use to describe the music is stroingy.
Stroingy.
It's stroingy. And I was wondering what you thought of it, because it's almost clearly something that he's playing with.
I was going to say it's almost playful. And it's very unsettling, but not disturbing. Like, it's just, you don't know how to feel. Yeah, you don't really know how to feel with it. But I do like the presence of it in this episode. It's a little interesting.
It calls out to itself in a way that other episodes, it's part of the wallpaper, and it accentuates an episode. But in this one, I found it a bit more present and not necessarily in a good way. It drew attention to itself to be like, okay, what are you doing? Mark, where are you going with this? Because this is a little bit strange.
A little bit weird.
Other than maybe he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to try a little something here. I'm going to try a little something. See what it goes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Fun episode. It's definitely on my list of episodes I won't skip, just because it's enjoyable for me, and it does bring back those memories of when I was frightened my little underwear off.
Sometimes you need that.
Sometimes,
yeah. I mean, for me, I was a movie in must have been my teens, I guess. Do you remember? Pay TV channels like Super Channel and the Movie Network and such.
Yeah, absolutely.
They'd have these free weekends, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, we can watch Super Channel for free! I got my weekend book," right? Because you'd see the ones they'd have. Well, Sunday night they put on Prince of Darkness at 12, at midnight.
Nice.
And I've been watching movies all day, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool sounding horror movie. I'll try that out." And of course, it's school night, right? So
of course.
I shouldn't really, but okay, I'll just watch a little bit. Well, damn, if it wasn't, I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's got some pretty horrifying scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched it for like half an hour. I was like, oh God, okay, I just got to go to bed.
I gotta go to bed.
And then I would be like wide awake.
Yeah.
I need to know what happens next. So I go back down, watch for another half an hour. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to bed because I'm going to be wrecked tomorrow. I watched the whole movie.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
terrible.
It was not a productive day at school the next day.
No, but oh my God, thank God I watched it because otherwise I would have been like, well, how did it end? Did it survive?
That's awesome. And it's one of the interesting things about horror and suspense that I always think about. It's like when you're really affected by it, but you want to keep watching. You want to feel that suspense, that terror. It's an interesting feeling because your body is telling you to just go away, do not look at what you're looking at, but you're like, no, I'm fighting it. And that's something that's always captivated me with horror.
I think that we know that movies have a structure where things will resolve.
Mm-hmm.
There will be an end. You know, it's a roller coaster, and at the end, you're going to get your resolution. And in a way, you need to see it through to the end. Otherwise, you'll be constantly in that state of terror that they're trying to inspire. I think suspense is better than horror in that regard, because horror is about shock, right? It's about confronting you with the unreal, the unthinkable. You know, it shocks you. But suspense is that slow build of just, I cannot believe this is happening, and I need to know what happens next. And there are actually very few good suspense movies, I think.
Oh yeah.
I just realized we have a listener comment on Too Shy.
We do.
Yes. Would you like me to read it out?
Absolutely.
Liza M. talking about Too Shy and saying it may be a half-baked Silence of the Lambs ripoff, but she really enjoyed it. And these were our fears about social media in 1995, kids.
Yeah.
I think she's right. The Silence of the Lambs. Well, what do you think? Do you think that they're taking a page from that movie?
That was an interesting comment. I don't know that I ever got that.
I suppose eating people?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess that would be the only real, unless there's something I'm missing. But
well,
I don't think
I would go with Tombs as a better, Hannibal ripoff if he's eating livers. But
that's true.
I
Interesting.
think maybe it's the charm factor. Like Hannibal Lecter is a charming dude, perhaps.
Yeah.
Certainly right about fears about social media. I mean, boy,
Absolutely.
talk about fertile ground.
Well, good comment. And I appreciate the comment because our fans have been pulling up the rear recently with, well, to be fair.
I just don't think we're as entertaining as we used to be. That's probably what it is.
It's only been a couple weeks. What happened?
That's true. Well, it's holiday season. People are doing stuff.
I know. I'm just fucking with it.
That's probably it.
They know I'm joking.
They know he has an interesting sense of humor.
We love them all. But yes, Andrew, if you would like to say goodbye, please do so.
I thank you for this opportunity to say goodbye to our loyal listeners. Thank you for enduring through this episode. It was good. It was a good one. It was good. I liked it. Yeah. It was fun. Always fun.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at TINHXFilesPod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.